Welcome back inside the Georgia Dome. Raiders and the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons have won the toss and they will receive as Carson Palmer gets ready for his turn, but it'll be Matt Ryan with his hands on the football first. Getting set to kick it away for Oakland, Sebastian Janikowski. And deep to receive for the Atlanta Falcons, number 32, Jacquizz Rodgers, who is returning kicks at a rate of about 31.7 per attempt. He won't get to return this one, though. It sails through the end zone. And we'll begin on the 20-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan, every bit the big-time quarterback so far this season. More than 1,500 yards throwing, 13 TD passes. He's also run for one while leading the Falcons to a 5-0 start. And very simply, Dan, he's done pretty much everything right.
Yes, he has. And again, we talked earlier in the open about the wealth of talent that he is surrounded by on that offensive football team. They really do not have a weakness. They don't have a hole in their game anywhere.
First down from the 20-yard line. Play fake. This sideline, complete and out of bounds at the 45-yard line to Julio Jones.
Well, what do you know? The Raiders have a safety, number 24, Michael Huff, trying to play corner. And right off the bat, the Falcons go right at Huff. And right before safety Matt Giordano can get over there and make the play. How's that for letting them know we know where you're struggling and we're not afraid to come after it early?
First down from the 45. This is Turner straight ahead, midfield, and into Oakland territory to the 46. Atlanta's offensive line has the veteran in the middle, Todd McClure, at center in his 14th year now out of LSU. And look at the weapons Matt Ryan has at his disposal, including tight end Tony Gonzalez in his 16th season, 99 career touchdown catches and counting.
Well, life is a bowl of cherries as an offensive coordinator when you get 9 yards on first down. 2nd and 1, maybe the best down in football.
Turner. Still on his feet, has the first down inside the 45 to about the 43. Oakland's 4-3 defense has struggled. They have just 3 quarterback sacks. Defensive end Matt Shaughnessy has half of them. The linebackers, Philip Wheeler, Rolando McClain, and the rookie Miles Burris out of San Diego State. And injuries on the corner have forced safety Michael Huff out to the cornerback. Matt Giordano starting in his spot at free safety.
Well, when you lose both of your corners in the first 2 weeks of the season, that's what head coach Dennis Allen has had to deal with. Ron Bartell goes. Tay Spencer goes down in the second game.
Number 97, Andre Carter on the field for the Oakland Raiders. That pass is intercepted in the middle of the field. Joselio Hansen, first interception of the season for the Oakland Raiders.
Well, Matt Ryan trying to go to the intermediate level and take a look at this. He's going to try to hit the crossing pattern. And it's like Hansen just sees it coming all the way. He jumps in front of Harry Douglas. It's as if he knew exactly what the pattern was going to be. He knew he had some safety help over the back, but Hansen just undercuts the route. And Matt Ryan, I don't know if he expected his receiver to fight for position more, but that was an easy pick.
This is McFadden. McFadden running room inside the 35 to about the 33-yard line.
Well, Darren McFadden is going to have a big day. He's going to need help from his teammates, and if he gets blocking like that, he will have a big day. And the Falcons were fortunate to get him tripped up, or Darren McFadden might have taken that a whole lot farther.
McFadden again, running room again. Penalty marker is down as he's inside the 20-yard line.
Well, the Falcons are acting like this is going to come back.
Our referee today is Terry McCauley.
Holding, offense number 45, 2-yard penalty, second down.
That's the fullback Marcel Reese, an Oakland Raiders team that in past years has been hit hard by penalties. They are the second least penalized team in the league coming into this game. That one hurt.
Which is certainly out of character. Safety Thomas DeCou gets in there, and that is a pretty big hit on Darren McFadden, who keeps it right on going. DeCou leads the Falcons with 4 interceptions.
2nd and 13. McFadden lost the football. Falcons with it. Inside the 35, and they give it right back. Robert McClain on the recovery. Looked like Jonathan Babineau made the hit.
Well, you can see just the delayed handoff. McFadden has got it, but he didn't have it very securely because that wasn't a violent hit from Babineau. He really just got a hand on the football, and it came out surprisingly easy. You know, you can understand a lot of times if a guy puts a helmet right on that football and it comes popping out, but to just basically slap it with your hand, you're not supposed to be able to knock it away from a running back that easily.
So the Falcons right back in business at the Oakland 32. This is Jacquees Rogers. No gain at all. Line of scrimmage remains the 32-yard line.
But you're on the road. You're the underdog. You're the Oakland Raiders. You're the beneficiary of your defense giving you a turnover very early in the ball game. The formula for success involves getting some points off that turnover, not turning it over yourself and giving it right back. You just can't afford many mistakes like that on the road against a superior team.
Rogers still in the backfield, 2nd and 10. Quick pass over the middle to Jones inside the 25 and very close to a first down at the Oakland 23.
Well, you think of Julio Jones and you think of, all the things that he can do outside the numbers, but keep in mind at 6'3", 220, he is a formidable target when he's inside the numbers. And Matt Ryan realizes that every place on the field is a workshop where Julio Jones can set up and go to work. That when you got a big body like that, what a plus.
On 3rd and 1, both Turner and Rogers in the backfield. And the pitch for Rogers, left side, cut down at the 25-yard line. Lost yardage on the play. Pat Lee, Matt Shaughnessy combining to make the play.
Well, I know that any play that doesn't work is subject to be second-guessed, but I was never a big fan of a toss play on 3rd and 1 when you've got the kind of power football players that the Falcons have and a guy like Michael Turner.
Matt Bryant will line up a field goal. He has been perfect this year, 16 for 16 in extra point attempts, 10 out of 10 field goals. On its way, close, no good. Matt Bryant's first miss of the season, and the takeaway goes for naught. Oakland football when we come back. There's the Raider quarterback Carson Palmer in his 10th season, the leader of a young Oakland offense that will need points on the board here this afternoon. On first down, Palmer, whip time, throws complete across the 40, out to about the 42-yard line to Brandon Meyer. On the Oakland front line, Khalif Barnes sidelined with a groin injury. Second-year tackle Willie Smith starts on the right side. The backs and the receivers, and we'll be watching Darren McFadden. He is the key to this Raider offense getting the job done today.
The Raiders spent a good deal of their bye week working on their running game, trying to instill some confidence in these guys.
McFadden getting the first down out across the 45 to the 46. The Falcon defense, and in John Abraham, a defensive end who wreaks havoc. 115 career sacks, that's 15th all time. Falcons are thin at linebacker. The question all week, would Stephen Nicholas be good to go with a bad ankle? He is. And the Falcon defense collects interceptions, 9 of them to rank 2nd in the NFL. Safety Thomas DeCou tied for the league lead with 4. First down, Raiders at their own 46. Palmer throwing and incomplete. Intended for Denarius Moore. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, Denarius Moore lost his footing as he was running that route. That's why that pass wasn't anywhere near him. He went to the ground as Carson Palmer released the football. Luckily, that didn't end up in an interception. A lot of times when there's
This is McFadden going nowhere, losing yardage, back to the 44, and John Abraham leading the charge. So it'll be 3rd and 12.
Darren McFadden would love nothing more than to play all 16 games of a season. The most he's ever put together in his 4 previous years was twice he's played 13 games. We asked him about it, and he said, wow, you don't know how much I'd like to play an entire season without an injury.
On 3rd and 12. Palmer with time, this sideline, and that is complete inside the 45-yard line to Rod Streeter. Good throw by Carson Palmer.
Well, he enjoyed really fine protection. You give a guy like that a good pocket where he can step into the football, and you aren't going to complete a pass very often with that kind of coverage. Dante Robinson, I mean, that's as good as it could get and still end up being a completed pass.
First down now at the Atlanta 42. Quick pass to the near side. This is Streeter again. Streeter can't break away. They'll mark his forward progress just inside the 40-yard line. There's Mike Smith.
You know, Mike Smith is just a football coach. He lives it, he breathes it, and look at his success. And he's the beneficiary of a wonderful organization, no question about it. Thomas Dimitrov is GM, Rich McKay, the president of the team, the stability, the ownership of Arthur Blank. It is solid from top to bottom here in Atlanta.
What is that?
On 2nd and 8, Palmer under pressure, going down. John Abraham.
Well, John Abraham that time working from the left end position, and he's going up against Willie Smith, and wow, that's a whiff. He fakes going upfield. He crosses Willie Smith's face quicker than Smith can react, and that is the fastest way for the quarterback to get inside the offensive tackle, and that was Main Street right to Carson Palmer, who paid the price for it.
A little blood on the elbow.
Yep.
3rd and 16. McFadden, right side, running room to about the 40.
Well, again, this is kind of an acknowledgement that the pass protection has been a problem, so let's run a delayed draw, a little bit of a power draw with Cooper Carlisle coming around from the left guard position, but too many Falcons sitting back waiting for that.
And getting set to kick, Shane Leckler, 7-time Pro Bowler, and #1 all-time as far as distance per kick. Dominique Franks is deep. Leckler hangs this one up. Good coverage down below, and they can't keep it from going into the end zone. Special teams had it covered, couldn't get the job done. Matt Ryan coming back onto the field, and the Falcons will be on offense when we come back to Atlanta in just a moment. Back in Atlanta, first-year head coach Dennis Allen chose to punt rather than let Sebastian Janikowski attempt what would have been about a 58-yard field goal. We saw Seabass making him from 65 in 3 games. Ryan to throw. Roddy White got it across the 45, out of bounds at about the 46-yard line. We have a penalty marker down in the backfield.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense number 77, blow to the head. 15-yard penalty. First down.
The penalty is on Matt Shaughnessy.
And a big play for the Falcons just got a lot bigger. And yeah, it was a glancing blow, but there's no question Matt Shaughnessy's forearm banged off the helmet of Matt Ryan, who delivered a perfect strike to Roddy White. There it comes right there. And yes, it wasn't a real powerful blow. It didn't snap his head back, but the quarterbacks of today's age are enjoying unprecedented protection.
And as the Beatles once sang, you can't do that. No. First down. Ryan steps up. Down the middle of the field. Intercepted. Michael Huff picked it off.
I don't know that he's down by contact. Only now does the official blow the whistle.
We have a holding call.
First down.
Terry McCauley
Timeout.
calls it. It is declined by the Oakland Raiders, and it'll be Raider football when we come back. It's raining interceptions for the Raiders.
Her favorite bond. Sean Connery always for me. All right, take a look at this. There's the interception, and there's contact by Julio Jones. So Michael Huff is down, and the ball spotted right there at the 2-yard line. Now the back judge, who was right there, he did not blow his whistle. He wasn't sure that he was down by contact, but there's no question that Julio Jones made contact with Huff, and the former safety showed his deep ball hawking skills that time, and we've got already our third turnover of the game.
Backs against the wall, the Raiders from their own 2-yard line. And Palmer going to throw out of his end zone going deep. Caught across the 45-yard line by Denarius Moore.
Well, Denarius Moore and Asante Samuel talk about a one-on-one battle. Now Samuel, the veteran, he realizes he's clawing, he's grabbing, but he's not able to prevent a perfect throw from Carson Palmer right onto the hands of Denarius Moore. And seriously, from out of his own end zone, what a tremendous throw by Palmer.
49-yard pickup. First down, Oakland at the Atlanta 49. McFadden, nowhere to go. Lost a yard.
Well, there's
update time. Let's get you back to New York. JB and Dan Marino. Guys.
A Browns mistake, Bengals capitalized.
Yeah, Brandon Whedon was intercepted, and Andy Dalton, a slant route to Jermaine Grisham. He goes 55 yards for a touchdown. Cincinnati goes up 6-0 early in this game.
Hey, Greg, I love the way Dan Dierdorf was politely talking about the rules being changed today. Back to Greg.
You should hear it on a regular basis, JB. 2nd and 11. McFadden. Inside the 45 to the 43. What a game so far.
a little more than 3 minutes left in this first quarter, but we've had plenty of action. Matt Ryan gets it started by getting picked off underneath. Then Darren McFadden, he returns the favor, gives the ball back to the Falcons. Then the Falcons miss a field goal that was very makeable. And then Matt Ryan trying to go downfield to Julio Jones as Michael Huff come across and make a darn good play. So already 3 turnovers and a missed field goal, and we're still in quarter number 1.
3rd and 4. A little flip to Darius Hayward-Bay around this side. Inside the 30. Inside the 25. Still on his feet. And down at about the 23 or 22-yard line.
Well, first of all, John Abraham has contained. There he is right at the bottom. He's doing everything right except he misjudges how fast Darius Hayward-Bay is. And then watch Dante Robinson coming right there. You know, when you tackle somebody, you're supposed to wrap up. That is just, no, a knockdown doesn't always work. And a wide receiver acted like a running back on that play.
Mike Goodson in the backfield. He gets the handoff here, looking for a running room and barely back to the line of scrimmage.
You know, Mike Nolan, the defensive coordinator for Mike Smith, he's going to be a little upset with that end around to Hayward-Bay because he really had everybody in the right position. John Abraham had contained. He was upfield. It looked like he was in the right spot, but sometimes speed really does kill. And it was Hayward-Bay's speed getting around the corner. One of the best defensive coordinators, one of the best defensive minds in football Mike Nolan.
2nd and 9. Palmer empties the backfield. Buying time for himself and throwing incomplete. We have a penalty marker down, 2 markers down. And this looks like it's going to be against the Raiders.
Going to get an offensive pass interference.
Pass interference. Offense number 83. 10-yard penalty. 2nd down.
That's the tight end, Brandon Myers. And Dan, we were talking with this Raider coaching staff about what a great job they were doing with no penalties. They've got 3 of them racked up already here in the first quarter.
Well, it has been a point of emphasis, but it's been a point of emphasis for, I think, everyone who's coached the Raiders for the last couple of decades.
Just hasn't worked.
It just hasn't worked. But Greg Knapp, the offensive coordinator, and Dennis Allen, they all talk about the fact that this is a much more disciplined football team. We just haven't seen it here early.
2nd and 19. McFadden. Nowhere to go.
Well, Jonathan Babineau, good solid defensive tackle. He's fighting through a little bit of a groin injury, but again, against this zone scheme, look how the defenders, how they all, they put their hands on the offensive linemen, they ride with them, but you don't give up your gap. Even though that gap floats a little bit to the outside, you still maintain that leverage. Then you come off to make the tackle only when the running back comes into your gap.
Palmer needs the 13-yard line for a 1st down. Under pressure, flips it out here, incomplete. Tipped on its way to David Osbury.
And John Abraham one more time, just so disruptive. John Abraham coming from the bottom. This time it looks like a couple different Raiders are accountable for him, and he splits a double team. Osbury, the tight end, Valdir, the tackle, neither one of them gets enough to slow him down.
Janikowski from 52 yards. That's a chip shot for him. He cleared that by a country mile. 3-0, Oakland. Sebastian Janikowski with his 38th field goal from beyond 50 yards. As they're taking a look at Darren McFadden on the sideline. 3-0 Raiders.
Well, they're holding his right arm and they're looking at his right shoulder and the collarbone area back in the back.
Janikowski sails this one into the end zone, and Rodgers will not run this one out. And so the Falcons down 3-0. Matt Ryan back to work on offense after this. 24 seconds remaining in the first quarter, and Matt Ryan had thrown just 3 interceptions all season long. He's thrown 2 already here today.
Well, all you talked about was how the Falcons took care of the football as a team. They were plus 10 in the turnover differential. And Matt Ryan had himself 10 more touchdowns than interceptions. He's whittling away at those numbers in a negative fashion.
Changing things up at the line of scrimmage. We are in the final half minute here in the first quarter. Blitz is picked up. Ryan throwing this side, and the catch is made by Roddy White.
Well, a good, strong throw by Matt Ryan on a deep out. And at the end, he ends up going down, and he actually lands kind of awkwardly where he can't protect himself. But that was great work by Roddy White and just a superior throw from Matt Ryan.
And with that, we will come to an end of the first quarter here in Atlanta. That's the end of one interesting football game. The Oakland Raiders lead it by a score of 3-0. We're coming back to the Georgia Dome after this. We're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Back in Atlanta for the start of the second quarter. 3-0 Raiders, and the Raiders have turned in 2 interceptions after having gone the first 4 games of this season with none. Michael Turner in the backfield for Atlanta on 2nd and 1.
Oklahoma! 56! Ready to go!
Turner, first down yardage and then some. Across the 35 and out to the 38-yard line for a first down. He joined the NFL and the American Cancer Society in the fight against breast cancer by supporting a crucial catch campaign. Visit NFL.com/auction to bid on authentic NFL pink gear worn by players and coaches.
The Raiders are going to play predominantly a nickel defense, which means their run stuffer, Rolando McClain, is on the sideline. Ryan sees that and said, let's run it. An easy first down conversion.
This is Turner. To about the 43. You know, going back, Dan, to that, we're so shocked by those two first quarter interceptions by the Oakland Raiders, and it was certainly a point of discussion for Dennis Allen. And Dennis Allen says, you know, in order to generate interceptions, you have to do things to affect the passer.
Well, and of course it starts with a pass rush, and that's something that, again, they only had 3 sacks coming in the game today, so that wasn't a strong suit either. But I will say this about interceptions. Sometimes they seem to come in bunches.
2nd and 5. This sideline. This is Julio Jones, and Jones across midfield into Oakland territory. It'll be a first down at the Oakland 48. Julio Jones comes off of a game last week, 10 catches for 94 yards and a touchdown in the win at Washington.
Well, he had 54 receptions and 8 touchdowns last year as a rookie. And the sky really is the limit for young Mr. Jones. He is a remarkable talent.
Tight end Tony Gonzalez has not yet been targeted.
That'll change.
You bet.
Gold Ravens! Gold Ravens! Gold Ravens! Tony! Get to the mic! Let him go!
Ryan over the middle, inside the 40 to the 39, complete to Harry Douglas.
Well, and right now the Falcons are showing a lot of patience offensively. The Raiders are going to play a little deeper shell, giving them a lot of room underneath, both from the safety position and from the corner spot. And that's what you need as an offense. You need some patience to take advantage of that if they're going to give it to you.
Arizona! Gold Arizona! Gold Arizona! 56 to
Again, nickel on the field for the Raiders.
Let him go!
On 2nd and 2, that pass is complete inside the 30 to the 25 and a first down to Roddy White.
And Roddy White goes back, and this time he's matched up against Michael Huff, number 24. Michael Huff, one of the better safeties in the league, but he is really being pressed into corner responsibilities because of all these injuries. Starting the Raiders defensive back.
Starting at corner for the 3rd week in a row. Says he hadn't started the cornerback since his sophomore year at Texas. That pass to the near side is complete to Douglas. And Matt Ryan looks like he's getting into a bit of a rhythm here.
Well, Huff does have some corner experience because when he was younger, he would play some of the slot corner and he would get in there. But it's completely different on the outside, and he's being very... he's sacrificing a lot to go out there. He's taking one for the team by going out there and playing corner. He's all they've got.
Ryan, 5 out of 5 throwing the football on this drive. 2nd and 6.
It's Tony time down here.
Over the middle. Jones. It'll be 1st and goal from the 2.
You know, we talked earlier about Julio Jones working between the numbers with that big body of his, and what a matchup problem that creates. You got Tony Gonzalez running the same pattern to the right. Jones is running it to the left. Ryan goes with Jones.
He is a nice big target.
Oh, isn't he really? At 6'3", 220. We've got some big wide receivers in the game of football today, don't we?
1st and goal.
Guys like Calvin Johnson and Brandon Marshall. Matt Ryan changing the...
This is Turner. And Turner going to lose yardage. Back to the 5.
Richard Seymour, the veteran defensive tackle, gets penetration, gets into the backfield, and that running play never had a chance. Richard Seymour, 7-time Pro Bowler. All those fantastic years for Bill Belichick and the Patriots.
This Atlanta team has been terrific in the red zone this season, scoring on 21 out of 23 red zone possessions. Ryan throwing, end zone, touchdown! Roddy White.
Well, good job by Matt Ryan of staying alive, but the Raiders just couldn't get enough of a pass rush to really force him off the spot. And he's got time. That pattern took a little while to develop. And against that Raiders zone, Roddy White found the hole in the back of the end zone. Can't give Matt Ryan that long to throw.
Matt Bryant looks to add the extra point, and he does. 9:51 to play here in the first half. Atlanta grabs a 7-3 lead. Roddy White, his 4th touchdown catch of the season. Nice drive engineered by Matt Ryan and the Atlanta offense. 10 plays, 80 yards in just a little over 5.5 minutes, culminating the touchdown pass from Ryan to Roddy White. Ryan's 14th TD pass of the season. Mike Goodson's deep. Will not run this one out. So Carson Palmer and the Raiders will start from their own 20-yard line when we come back. Hey, nobody knows the game like a quarterback. Don't miss Phil Simms, Rich Cannon, Steve Berline, special guest Dan Marino on NFL Monday QB. Tomorrow at 6:30 Eastern, only on CBS Sports Network, the 24-hour home of CBS Sports. You look at that group. And boy, there are a lot of interceptions in that group, Dan.
Yes, there are. And of course, Matt Ryan helped greatly by that last touchdown drive. He was 0 touchdowns and 2 interceptions going into that. He needed that badly. Carson Palmer throwing the ball well, hasn't made anything happen yet. And again, the Raiders don't normally play with the lead. They're in their customary position. They need to put together a nice little patient drive.
Darren McFadden in the backfield on first down. The Raiders down 7-3, 9:51 to play in the first half. From their own 20-yard line, and this is McFadden with running room left side. 25, first down, and out to about the 33 or 34. Let's go back to that touchdown pass.
Well, you know, Greg, when you're going into the end zone, one of the receivers, and that's Roddy White right here, normally is responsible for running right across the back of the end line, and that's exactly what White is going to do. Roddy White just finds a soft spot, finds a little hole, and Matt Ryan, nobody in his face, does the old jump pass, doesn't have either foot on the ground when he releases that, but that's a luxury a quarterback can have when you're only on the 4-yard line. You don't have to throw it very far.
First down, McFadden to about the 35, a pickup of 2.
I will guarantee you that Mike Nolan takes a deep breath every time Darren McFadden touches the football, because there are few running backs in this league that are more explosive, if any, than Darren McFadden. He has just such tremendous open field speed, and if he gets even with you, he is gone.
Mike Nolan says that he feels fortunate that big plays that have gone against the Falcons haven't cost them any games yet. Far side of the field, this is Osbury, and Osbury pulls his way across the 45 for a first down.
Now Osbury, the second-year tight end from Southern Cal, gets a little vocal in there, letting William Moore have a piece of his mind, but that was a nifty little move he put on there.
Were you a talker, Dan, on the field?
No, I was not. I was saving it.
Thank you, and we're all grateful.
I was saving it for my second career. No, when you played next to Conrad Dilber, you didn't have to say anything.
Nothing left to say.
He handled everything.
On first down, quick slant, and that's complete to Rod Streeter. Streeter, an undrafted free agent, performing very well for these Raiders early on.
Well, and it's one of the reasons, this Raider passing game has been slow to come around because of all the new faces. 3 new guys in the system here: Streeter, Derek Hagan, Jerron Kreiner, all new to the Raiders this year. Denarius Moore with a hamstring problem, didn't play at all in the preseason. Hayward Bay had a concussion, he missed the game. So These guys, they've got a lot of work still to do together.
McFadden has a first down. We have a penalty marker fly. McFadden out of bounds at the 25, but let's check the flag.
This is almost certainly
Holding
coming back.
offense number 79, 10-yard penalty, second down.
That's the second-year tackle, Willie Smith.
And again, he's in the starting lineup because of Khalif Barnes, their normal right tackle. He's out with a groin injury. There he is. See the right hand? And you can get the hand up there, but you can't restrict the player's movement. And he's got Ray Edwards. That's so blatant. That is so obvious. That's just inexcusable. You can't lock on, hold on, and then just completely spin a guy around and think that the officials aren't going to see that.
Mike Goodson into the backfield, 2nd and 13. Palmer for Goodson. Running room and blockers. First down yardage and then some. Inside the 30, inside the 25, inside the 20.
Well, what a well set up and executed screen. Watch how they let all the Falcons come in and you don't see anyone in a red jersey. We've got one guy, William Moore, unfortunately, was put in a position where he had to take on the whole group of Raiders blockers. That was a really well executed. Give Greg Knapp some kudos for that. And unfortunately, Mike Brazel, their right guard, is injured.
We'll check on him. We'll take a break. 6:36 to play in the half. Mike Brazel has left this game, replaced by Alex Parsons at right guard. First down at the 19-yard line for the Oakland Raiders. Palmer with time over the middle, wide open, has Denarius Moore. Moore inside the 10. Looks like it'll be first and goal. It will.
Well, now it's the Raiders' turn to respond with a good-looking drive, a little bit of everything. And on the crossing pattern, Carson Palmer delivers it right to Denarius Moore. And from behind, he's rather gently lowered to the field. And the scale of 1 to 10, I'd give that about a 2. No harm, no foul.
On first and goal. Back to the 5.
Whoa! What a beautiful hole off the right side. Listen to this as Darren McFadden goes in there full speed.
So he is to the 1-yard line. It'll be second and goal. Mike Brazel has left the field, gone to the Oakland locker room.
He looked wobbly and unsteady on his feet as he was going up the tunnel.
On second and goal. Late fake. Palmer throwing. Tried to thread the needle to Brandon Myers. Dangerous looking pass. It falls incomplete.
It certainly was. William Moore, the safety, was there. Basically, that is designed to go all the way to Myers. The ball gets through it. It looks like it hits him. Very catchable. I mean, that just bounces off his chest. Obviously, William Moore distracted him enough, but Moore didn't hit the football. He didn't touch it.
Third and goal. McFadden not going to get there. The Raiders still with just one rushing touchdown on the season.
And they're going to kick the field goal. Well, penetration will kill you, and that's exactly what happened. The Falcons moved the line of scrimmage. They moved the line of scrimmage 2 yards into the Raiders' backfield, and that's why they won that short yardage play.
Janikowski from 22 yards out. Janikowski could hiccup one through the uprights from 22 yards. Second field goal of the day. Atlanta's lead. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome here in Atlanta. Sebastian Janikowski, 2 field goals on the board. Jacquizz Rodgers set to receive the kick. And if it's a typical Janikowski kick, he won't have a prayer of returning it. It is typical, and he will not. So it'll come out to the 20-yard line. Thursday, see why critics are calling Elementary the season's best. Don't miss a new episode Thursday only. CBS.
Well, Tony Gonzalez leading the NFL with 39 receptions. He had 13 a week ago in that win over the Redskins, and he hasn't even been targeted yet today, much less have a reception. How long do you think that's going to last, Greg?
Maybe until second down. Ryan pulls it down and goes down. Back at the 12-yard line.
Well, Matt Ryan, granted the pocket fell apart, but initially he's really struggling to find anybody to throw to. He pumps it, can't find anybody, and he was just spinning out of there trying to find some time. In the slot was Tony Gonzalez, and you see he's being covered by Philip Wheeler. Let's check it. There's Roddy White coming across the middle. He looked like he might have had a step on his guy.
On 2nd and 18, pass out to the far side to Roddy White, and White can't break free. Out of bounds at about the 16-yard line, forced out by Michael Huff. Jason Tarver, the Oakland Raiders defensive coordinator.
He was at Stanford last year, and before that he spent 10 years with the 49ers organization, but this is his first time in the National Football League as a defensive coordinator, a young coach, and of course Dennis Allen, the head coach of the Raiders, young himself, only 40.
This is a big defensive down for the Raiders. 3rd and 14. Ryan steps up, throws for Gonzalez, and there's a penalty marker.
Well, that is going to be a killer defensive holding on Philip Wheeler. That is an automatic first down.
5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Now Wheeler's given up a... Oh, how could they have called him for that?
That's a WWE move.
That's not fair. Philip Wheeler, he's 6'2", giving up a whole lot of size to Tony Gonzalez. That time went for the full-blown mugging and got flagged for it. But on a 3rd and very long, what a critical mistake.
Ryan out of the shotgun, hit as he got let go, and it's intercepted. Picked off by Tyvon Branch, and Branch inside the 30-yard line. A third interception by the Raider defense.
And Matt Ryan just gets destroyed in the pocket as he's attempting to throw this pass. This is what he sees coming from behind. Here comes Wheeler. That's Philip Wheeler, who comes right up the middle, right up the A-gap, completely untouched. And a floater drops back there to Tyvon Branch. He almost could have put up a fair catch signal for this.
Philip Wheeler, who had that interference call on Gonzalez.
That makes up for the automatic first down.
You bet. Sets up the Raiders at the 28-yard line of the Atlanta Falcons.
And Matt Ryan just can't believe it that he's thrown 3 picks in the first half.
White 90. What's that?
McFadden to the 25.
Well, 2 Raiders drives so far have ended in field goals. And you know the old adage, beware of the team that has to settle for field goals instead of touchdowns. They've got a golden opportunity here at the 25-yard line. With 2 minutes and 20 seconds left in the first half, they got all 3 of their timeouts. Can the Raiders parlay this into a touchdown, not just another Janikowski field goal?
Doesn't look like they're going to be in a hurry to get this play off before the 2-minute warning hits. 3 takeaways in their first 4 games. The Oakland Raiders have 3 today and in prime position to score again. 2 minutes to play. 2 minutes to play here in the first half in Atlanta. Matt Ryan doesn't throw 3 interceptions in a game very often. And he's tossed all 3 of them in the first half here.
Well, that time trying to deliver a football with a linebacker in your chest is impossible to do.
Each team with all 3 timeouts remaining.
Little power formation here by the Raiders.
Play fake to McFadden. Palmer looking, throwing, and that's complete inside the 20, and breaking free is Denarius Moore for the touchdown.
Well, Mike Peterson, the linebacker, is kicking himself because he's got the tackle. He's got the responsibility. Watch this. Here comes Peterson, number 53, and he goes right over the top of Denarius Moore. Slick little move by Moore. He just ducks. Mike Peterson sails right over the top of him, and that time Matt Ryan's interception got turned into 6 points.
Janikowski's kick is good, and with 1:50 to play in the first half, the Oakland Raiders have grabbed the lead, 13-7. Coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report, JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher have all the latest NFL scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. And as they always do, these Raider fans travel well, don't they, Dan?
Well, I just don't understand how anybody can identify them as a Raider fan. They're so subtle.
First two road games of this season, the Raiders scored 19 points on the road. They have 13 on the board today. Rodgers deep. Janikowski. And Rodgers will return this one out of the end zone. Right up the middle. Out across the 20 to about the 22-yard line. Hoy Francis making the stop.
Well, Matt Ryan has had a difficult first half, to say the least. He gets it started with being undercut there with an interception. Then this time going deep, Michael Huff comes across and picks him off. And then this, under tremendous duress, this floater to Tyvon Branch. Not much Ryan could have done about that. That was a breakdown in his protection.
Again, all teams with their 3 timeouts still available. Ryan, under pressure, got rid of it. That's complete to Rodgers out of the backfield. And out to about the 27-yard line. Clock continues to move as we come up on 1.5 minutes to play in the first half. Ryan going to go deep. Penalty marker is down, and that's caught. Roddy White with the grab. And this one's going to come back.
Number 77, 10-yard penalty, second down.
Tyson Clabo guilty.
They got the right tackle, Tyson Clabo, on the hold. And meanwhile, Michael Huff and Roddy White are continuing this mano-a-mano battle that they've had going on most of this first half. Even though it comes back, let's take a look at it. That's single coverage all the way for Huff, who just doesn't know where the football is. And that lack of awareness almost burned him. But thankfully for Michael Huff, Tyson Clabo called with the hold.
Dan, Matt Ryan has thrown 15 passes, 12 completed to the Falcons and 3 to the Oakland Raiders. 2nd and 15. Screen right side, Rodgers.
Well, he just flat drops it. That's all there is to that. Jacquizz Rodgers just looked like they had a pretty nice little screen set up out there, and he loses focus, looks downfield, and just flat drops it. Tony Gonzalez still not a part of the Falcons offense yet. There he is, tight end at the bottom.
Ryan needs the 32-yard line for a first down. Has time, over the middle, and there is Gonzalez, and Gonzalez spinning and down at the 30-yard line. It'll be 4th and 2.
Well, they're giving a lot of room underneath. You can see how deep the shell is that the Raiders are playing. Philip Wheeler dropping way deep.
And the Raiders use a timeout to stop the clock here with 54 seconds to play.
And with it being a full 2 yards, I don't think the Falcons have much choice other than to punt.
It's been a pretty good homecoming so far for Dennis Allen, the first-year head coach of the Raiders. He was an Atlanta assistant from 02 to 05. His dad, Grady Allen, played linebacker for these Falcons in the late 60s and early 70s.
And during his father's tenure with the Falcons, Dennis was actually born here in Atlanta back in 1972.
Who says you can't go home again, at least for a half? Phillip Adams is deep. Fair catch called for, and he will let it bounce, and it takes a Falcon bounce inside the 15 and down at about the 14-yard line. There's Dennis Allen.
Just turned 40 years old.
And Grady Allen, as we said, his dad, a linebacker for the Atlanta Falcons from 68 to 72.
I mean, he was a linebacker with this Falcon team when one of his teammates would have been the great Tommy Nobis.
He was great, too.
Yes, he was.
Dan, we were talking about him starting as a quality control coach, and you said a lot of guys start that way.
Well, a lot of them start that way, and they start for next to nothing or maybe nothing in the salary department just to get the experience. And there's a good look by Director Bob Fishman. Finds Tommy Nobis, one of the great Falcons of all time.
Let's see what Carson Palmer does with 39 seconds on the clock. They give us to McFadden, slips and falls down at the 15.
Darren McFadden is pretty upset with himself because he had a hole and he had a cutback, and his eyes were bigger than his legs, and he just couldn't execute the cut.
His eyes were bigger than his legs?
Well, he saw a lot of space, and he was headed for it, and the lower half just wouldn't execute what the upper half wanted to do.
His eyes were bigger than his legs?
It's a football term, Greg, that I just invented. And I don't need you calling me out on it.
No, it just strikes me. Hey, that's the end of the first half. 13-7 Raiders. We're back with the Verizon Halftime Report after this message and a word from your local station. Back here in Atlanta, Georgia, the Oakland Raiders leading the Atlanta Falcons 13-7 at the start of the third quarter. And time now for the Droid Razor M play presented by Motorola.
Well, it's a bootleg by Carson Palmer as he rolls out to his right, and then he finds his receiver, Denarius Moore. Then it's up to him. He breaks a tackle, and right there he gets a nice downfield block from his tight end, Brandon Myers, and it's the Oakland touchdown to go with their 3 field goals. And Greg, this crowd here in Atlanta is
a little stunned.
A little stunned.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome, everyone. Greg Gumbel along with Dan Deerdorf. That perfect record the Atlanta Falcons brought into the game. And people are a little bit uneasy about it, but the fact of the matter is that the Falcons have, that we said at the top of the day, the Falcons have not been perfect all season long in getting to that 5-0.
No, but they played well in the second half. Last week was really emblematic of that. They scored 17 points in the fourth quarter to get that win over Washington. They're going to need a little second half magic here because right now the Raiders aren't making it easy on them. This Atlanta team built this 5-0 record by being plus 10 in the turnover differential. Well, here they are so far in this game at -2. They've got 3 turnovers compared to the Raiders' 1.
Raiders get the football first here in the second half. Mike Goodson is deep. And he will run this one out. He will. Nope, he won't. So they'll start at the 20-yard line. Numbers from the first half.
Well, you can see that the Raiders, with 213 total yards, putting up a lot of offense against this Falcons defense. But again, it's the takeaways and the giveaways, and right now that is decidedly in favor of the Oakland Raiders. Now their right guard, Mike Brizell, he's still in the locker room, I believe, being evaluated with a head injury, and his return is very questionable.
First down from the 20-yard line. Palmer going to start it off with a handoff to McFadden for about 2.
You can see there the Raiders haven't been out front a whole lot. You can see less than 5% of the time and accumulating that 1-3 record. But
Not a good prescription for victory.
no, you just can't always come from behind. But, yep, they're playing with a lead right now, and that's going to let them do what they want to do, which is just keep giving the ball to Darren McFadden.
McFadden, 15 carries, 36 yards so far on the day. 2nd and 8. He'll get the ball again. Try the right side. Nowhere to go. Pulled to a stop at the 24-yard line. Troy Bierman clamping down on him there.
When we talked to Greg Knapp, their offensive coordinator, we talked about the fact that sometimes you have to run the football even though you're not accumulating a whole lot of yards because it's executing your game plan. You're keeping Matt Ryan and Roddy White and Julio Jones over on the sidelines as spectators. The Raiders very much want to squeeze the air out of the football here this afternoon, especially now with the lead.
Receivers in tight. 3rd and 6. Palmer, sideline pass, knocked down. Thomas DeCou knocked it away from Denarius Moore.
Yeah, Carson Palmer with 2 patterns here to the left. Underneath he had Marcel Reese, and deep he had Denarius Moore. He's so thrilled to have Denarius Moore back out on the field. But Thomas DeCou really a really nice piece of defensive work.
Shane Leckler. See how far he kicks this one.
Watch your hands!
He didn't get off a really good one this time. But it is going to take an Oakland bounce and is out of bounds at about the 20-yard line. Shane Leckler, even when he doesn't kick him good, he kicks him good. 55 yards. Atlanta Falcons have made some hay against AFC teams with victories their first 3 games of the year over Kansas City, Denver, and San Diego. First down. This is Michael Turner. Turner going to lose yardage back to about the 17.5-yard line. Matt Shaughnessy with the play.
And the Falcons are struggling to get Michael Turner loose. He's got 6 carries, a grand total of 21 yards.
As I said, bewildered is a good way to describe these Falcons right now. On 2nd and 13. Ryan out here, complete to Lusaka Polite, and Polite out to about the 26.
Greg, I think it's just a case where most people thought that this defense of the Raiders would collapse under the weight of this heavyweight offense of the Falcons with the speed and the explosiveness at wide receiver, the ability of Turner to run the football, of course Gonzalez at tight end, and if anything, this is a defense that's got safeties playing corner. They're very thin in the secondary. They don't have a whole lot of depth. They're playing their hearts out.
3rd and 5. Comes the blitz. Ryan on the move, throwing downfield, incomplete, intended for Roddy White. And you're right, Dan, this is a defense that didn't come in, as we mentioned at the top of the day, with sparkling numbers. A passing defense that was 28th in the league, and a rushing defense 24th in the league.
And, opposing quarterback, their statistics, their opposing quarterbacks were completing nearly 72% of their passes, the worst in the NFL. You're right. Who would have thought that at this point in the game that the Falcons would have 7 points?
Denarius Moore, look at this kick from Boston. Penalty marker flies, and on the reverse, and out of bounds is Phillip Adams. But let's check the penalty. It looks like it's going to be against the Raiders.
Yeah, kudos to Christopher Owens for the Falcons, who kept contained to his side of the field.
During the kick, holding, receiving team number 31. 10-yard penalty, first down, timeout.
Boy, as we started to sing the praises of these Raiders, they're committing penalties. Carson Palmer in the offense on the field after this. Back in Atlanta, Falcons fans haven't had much to cheer about yet. Oakland with the ball. at their own 10-yard line. First down. Darren McFadden just 38 yards rushing on 16 carries. Palmer gonna go deep if he gets a chance. Instead he goes underneath. And this is McFadden. McFadden out across the 15 to about the 17.
Well, kudos to the Atlanta secondary for taking away everything Carson Palmer wanted down the field. And kudos to Palmer for having the time to check it down to finally go to his third option. Basically just two receivers going deep. And they're blanketed by this Falcons secondary.
Second and 3. McFadden, running room. Almost busted it out across the 20 to about the 24-yard line, and that's a first down.
He ran through the attempted tackle of Parade Jerry.
He's a highlight waiting to happen, isn't he?
He really is. Jerry, the big defensive tackle, he's got him there, and he just can't wrap him up and bring him down. And again, though, Darren McFadden, he really is, if you haven't seen him play a whole lot, he is just one broken tackle away from a big, big play.
New set of downs for the Raiders at their own 24.
False start there.
Offense number 68. 5-yard penalty. First down.
I'm almost sorry we brought up the whole Raiders not committing penalties thing earlier.
Yeah, that gets him up to 7. Jared Valdir, the left tackle, a lot of confusion. It looked like Carson Palmer was changing the play, and you know, it's you work on it, and during practice, but it's hard to simulate the emotions and the adrenaline going through your body during a game experience. You're a little amped up.
Whitey! What's that?
Palmer got his man across the 35 out to the 40-yard line. Derek Hagan, his first catch of the day.
Well, let's take a look at Hagan working at the top of the screen. Asante Samuel giving him all sorts of room underneath. That's an awfully soft look, and Carson Palmer had just enough time before John Abraham got there and delivered a strike.
21-yard pickup out to the 40.
Samuel was giving an awful lot of room underneath the Hagan.
A little more breathing room now for the Oakland offense. Palmer behind his intended receiver. Denarius Moore wasn't looking for it.
Much to the chagrin of number 3.
Yes, if you've ever wanted to know what chagrin looks like, that was it.
That was it. Well, keep in mind, though, Denarius Moore and Carson Palmer are just getting some good work. Denarius Moore with a hamstring issue didn't play in any of the preseason games. He didn't play in their opener. So, you know, Carson Palmer missed all sorts of valuable time during training camp working with number 17.
This is Darren McFadden. And they're waiting for him up the middle, out to about the 43.
They're trying to run this new concept. It's not new around the league. It's the zone concept that the Houston Texans run so well. This time you see we got the off guard pulling on a power, and you got both the fullback Marcel Reese, you got Cooper Carlisle, neither one of them polishing off the linebacker. But it's a work in progress, this running game that Greg Knapp has installed for the Raiders offensively.
McFadden working on a career high, or a season high of 18 carries. Palmer throwing, underthrows his intended receiver, Hayward Bay.
All right, let's start off and take a look at the protection. We've got the blitz, and it's picked up very well by the Raiders. Carson Palmer has plenty of time to find his receiver. He acted like he thought that Hayward Bay was going to break that pattern off a couple of yards shorter than he did.
Leckler booms it out of there. Frank's going to let it go. Bounces in the end zone for the touchback. 8:35 to play. Third quarter. Oakland 13. Atlanta 7. And before we take a break, we have a penalty marker. Here's Terry McCauley.
Prior to the kick, holding, kicking team number 50. 10-yard penalty added to the end of the play. First down, timeout.
So that'll improve Matt Ryan's field position. And now we'll take a break, and then we'll be back. Hey, you can get live score updates for all of your favorite teams with the new CBS Sportcaster app, available on select devices. Visit cbssports.com/mobile or text SCORE to 42777 to get the free app. First down, Atlanta at their own 30-yard line. Ryan under pressure, the screen for Turner. Turner across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
That time the Falcons see that the Raiders were in their base defense with 3 linebackers on the field, and that made them a little more inclined to put the ball in the air, try to turn Rolando McClain into a pass defender instead of a run defender.
This Raider defense surrendered 503 total yards their last time out 2 weeks ago against Denver. They've given up 176 today. Second and 4. Turner, left side. Remaining a yard to the 37, Philip Wheeler.
Boy, just tough sledding for Michael Turner. He's just not finding anything. He's averaging about 3 yards a carry in this game so far.
And Atlanta now looking at a third down. They have been sparkling on third down conversions this season, but not today.
Raiders showing blitz at the top.
Ryan hit the defender and caught by Harry Douglas. Joselio Hansen had the ball bounce off of him, and Douglas made the grab.
He made the grab lying flat on his back. This goes into the really bad luck department for the Raiders. It goes right off of Hansen's helmet, right to Harry Douglas, who sits down.
And now the quick pass to Gonzalez, and Gonzalez inside the Raider 40 to the 37-yard line.
And now Matt Ryan tries to get a little momentum going offensively. This is pretty smart. Check this. Harry Douglas, his legs go out from underneath him, and the ball lands right on his chest. This is smart, though, by the offense of the Falcons. Try to shake things up. They were in a slump.
Ryan not giving anybody a jump. Second and 4. White inside the 30, inside the 25 to the 23, and a first down for the Atlanta Falcons.
And again, this up-tempo, I think, is energizing this offense of the Atlanta Falcons. Roddy White again. You know, defenders these days are loath to wrap up. If you're just going to hit them with a shoulder, they will bounce off of you and keep going.
Almost intercepted.
Michael Huff almost had himself another one.
Second and 10.
That ball looked like it bounced right off of Michael Huff's chest.
Well, we know what happens when they bounce off the helmets.
When you run the no huddle, you have the luxury of spending a long time at the line of scrimmage.
Little pump fake down the far sideline, incomplete. Intended for Julio Jones.
And that was just a complete throwaway by Matt Ryan. He's under pressure, but he saw the safety Tyvon Branch coming across. And that meant that he could not go downfield with the ball. And he took a nasty blow down on the lower legs. But that was a throwaway. He threw that ball a good 3 yards out of bounds.
Third and 10. Deep drop for Ryan. on the move, throwing, and that is incomplete. At the 15-yard line, Harry Douglas trying to make the diving catch.
Well, even if he'd have caught it, it would have been 2 or 3 yards short of the first down. And he puts it right on Harry Douglas's hands. And Philip Wheeler, he's in the air, and nothing you can do about that. He's got to take Ryan down.
Matt Bryant missed a 43-yarder earlier. This one from 41 yards out. And he does a little better with this one. 5:06 to play in the third quarter. Oakland's lead is 3 at 13-10. Look inside the Georgia Aquarium. What a neat place that is. Something fishy about that, Dan.
Oh, don't you love a good aquarium?
Absolutely.
Something soothing about that. Nothing soothing about this game. Pretty hard hitting.
Bosher kicks it away. Mike Goodson going to run it out. 5 yards deep. Bounces off the tackler, out across the 15 and out to about the 20-yard line. Hey, tomorrow on CBS, 2 broke girls are making their dreams come true on an all-new episode of the hit comedy. Tomorrow, only CBS.
Well, in a pass-happy league, the Raiders are trying to get back to their running roots. Greg Knapp so far in this game has called 20 running plays against 18 passes. And
True
even
to his word about getting that ground game going.
Right, and even though it hasn't been to great success, it eats up the clock.
Here's another one. McFadden with running room. Drag from behind and a late flag.
I don't know.
Horse collar.
It looked like a horse collar.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, horse collar tackle, defense, 15-yard penalty, first down.
It's like maybe a key dent.
Dent's number 52, and right there, that's exactly right. And you cannot put your hand inside the jersey, grab him by the shoulder pad area back underneath the back of his helmet and drag a guy down. It's a great way to have a guy suffer a real serious lower leg injury.
So now the ball all the way out to the 39-yard line. Play fake this time. Palmer hit from behind. Loose football. Scooped up by Ray Edwards. On his way to the end zone and down and inside the 5.
John Abraham again. John Abraham has ruined more quarterbacks' afternoons than most defensive linemen who've ever played this game. Carson Palmer does not feel Abraham coming from his blind side. He gets around Jared Valdir, number 68. John Abraham telling us, I love going against taller tackles because I can get underneath them. The leverage is in my advantage. He got underneath the 6'8" Valdir and creates the turnover.
And we are going to get another look at this. Terry McCauley coming over to take a look as we take our second look.
Well, as Carson Palmer's arm, it's not even close to going forward. I think that's a fumble all the way. He's still basically winding up. I think he's lost. That ball has been knocked from his control, in my estimation, before his arm starts going forward. Yeah, I think that was a good move by John Abraham, tomahawking the right arm. Now, because it's a turnover, it's automatically reviewed. This isn't a coach's challenge. And it's close enough for Terry McCauley to take a look at it, but
you remember what John
unless
Abraham,
I'm really missing it.
You remember what John Abraham told us, Dan? He said this is his 13th year and how much longer he wants to play. He says, I would never want to be just another guy on the field. I don't think he's got to worry about that today.
Yeah, he said
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. The quarterback lost control of the football prior to the hand going forward.
And again, John Abraham coming from the blind side. Carson Palmer doesn't feel him. Another half a second, Carson Palmer would have been in the release of that football, but the timing worked out in John Abraham and the Falcons. It definitely went their way. But again, 2 sacks already on the game today, a forced fumble. What a pain in the neck for opposing quarterbacks.
First and goal from the 2.
Literally and figuratively.
Ryan's going to throw for it. And threw that one out of the end zone. Julio Jones well covered at the back of the end zone. Second and goal.
Well, Tony Gonzalez was not out there on that first down play. He now comes out. Again, he's looking to enter the pantheon of receiving touchdowns in this league. He's got 99 pelts on the wall. His next one would be number 100, which would put him in some elite company.
Lord Miller! Lord Miller! Lord Miller!
Turner. No, going to be marked down short of the goal line.
Wow, at 2 yards from that contact, it looked to me like Michael Turner
was going to walk in.
Yeah, that he was going to have enough momentum to get into the end zone. But what a hit. He gets a great block at the point of attack. And I think, was that Burris that got, yes, take a look at that. Tyvon Branch is down there underneath.
Third and goal. Movement on the right side.
Well, this is going to be really interesting. Tollefson is moving, but so is Gonzalez.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense, number 99. Half distance to the goal. Third down.
Well, they call Lamar Houston, but you can see right there it's Tollefson, number 58. And he is definitely across the ball. Tony Gonzalez reacts to it, but that's what he's allowed to do once Tollefson is into the neutral zone.
This ball is so close to the goal line that half the distance to the goal would put it in.
Well, this is where as a coach you go, well, we're going to run this thing in there. My God, if we don't get it in on this one, we're going to do it again.
Joe Hawley in the backfield. Coming up short of the goal line is Jason Snelling.
Well, he wasn't even close. They lost yardage on that.
Rolando McClain led the defensive charge.
Well, this is a bitter pill to settle for a field goal in this situation. Michael Huff. Here comes Huff. He gets right in there, and he's the first guy to get underneath Snelling. And Rolando McClain, as you mentioned, right there as well.
Matt Bryant from 20 yards out for the tie.
Well, that is a victory for the Raiders to force this field goal.
And it is good. 2 minutes, 31 seconds to play in the third. We are tied at 13. 2:31 to play here in the third quarter. Oakland and Atlanta tied at 13. That's Mike Goodson in the end zone for the Raiders. Bosher with the kick. And Goodson will get a chance to run this one out, and no, he won't.
Well,
wait, talk about why you never give up on a play.
Well, that's right. Darren McFadden. You're going, well, Darren McFadden, what do you have to do with it? Well, here's what he did. This is a 4-point tackle right here. When he drags down Ray Edwards at the 2-yard line, the Falcons weren't able to get it into the end zone, and his hustle, a running back making that tackle, that is a 4-point play by Darren McFadden. That might be the best tackle a Raider has made all day.
From the 20-yard line. Back to the ground game. McFadden up the middle for about 3 or 4 yards. It'll make it 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. Get coverage of every NFL game with NFL Mobile. Call ** NFL. That's 635 to download NFL Mobile, or go to NFL.com/mobile to learn more. McFadden now up to 20 carries for 56 yards. Straight ahead. Oh, hit hard as he crossed the 25-yard line. Dante Robinson.
And you're right, talking about hitting him hard. Dante Robinson's been around this league for 9 years. That was a heck of a shot he put on Darren McFadden. You're right. You know, Darren McFadden is averaging less than 3 yards a carry. Now keep in mind, the Falcons have been giving up an average of over 5 1/3 yards a carry in their games so far this season. They have tightened things up defensively.
3rd and 3. Palmer out of the backfield. McFadden has the football. Out across the 45 to the 47, and we have a penalty marker down.
Prior to the pass, holding, defense number 52. Penalties decline, 1st down.
That's Hakeem Dent, guilty.
Well, Carson Palmer, at the last minute, he spies Darren McFadden. He delivers a really low football, and down at the ankles, McFadden goes down and digs it out. McFadden came into this game as the Raiders' leading receiver as well as their leading rusher. Good effort there.
Final 50 seconds of the 3rd quarter. Palmer gives to Goodson. And Goodson squirms his way across midfield and into Atlanta territory to about the 47.5-yard line. And without a little hustle, we'll see if that's the final play here in the 3rd quarter.
Well, it looks to me like the play clock is about a second ahead of the game clock. They're going to have to run a play. I'm with you. They would have preferred not to.
Goodson again. Right side. 1st down. Penalty marker flies. And this will be a hold against the Raiders.
79, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
Willie Smith.
Willie Smith flagged again.
Looked like he grabbed John Abraham.
A tough outing for the 2nd-year guy from East Carolina.
And they will restart the clock, and we will come to the end of the 3rd quarter. That's the end of 3. We're tied at 13, and we're coming back to Atlanta after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. Along with our producer, Mark Wolf, our director, Bob Fishman, Greg Gumbel, Dan Deerdorf, and the rest of our CBS Sports crew here in Atlanta as we start the 4th quarter, tied at 13. The Raiders from their own 42, and Palmer to throw, hit as he let go.
Well, Carson Palmer ends up flat on his back. You can see coming right up the middle, Vance Walker. Wow, talk about not getting a chance to set your feet. Carson Palmer barely has a chance to get that out of there.
Vance is from Georgia Tech. You think they like that here? 3rd and 14.
Well, the crowd realizes the importance of this long yardage deal.
Going to give it to Goodson. Goodson running up the middle, across midfield.
Another flag. The umpire threw this one.
And it's another hold.
Holding, offense number 71. Penalties declined. 4th down.
You know, the whole getting better on the penalty front has gone right out the window for the Raiders today.
I'm not sure who that was called on. They don't have a 71 on their offensive line. They didn't have first down yardage anyway.
Not much offense generated by the Raiders here in the second half. 4 drives, 3 punts, and a fumble. Lecter trying to dump one inside the 10-yard line. Fair catch called for and made by Dominique Franks. 14:36 to play in the fourth quarter. Matt Ryan in the offense after this. Hey, this is the 4th year of the NFL's Crucial Catch campaign, which supports the American Cancer Society. The campaign's main goal is to raise awareness around the importance of annual screenings, especially for women over the age of 40. In 2011 alone, the NFL's A Crucial Catch campaign reached more than 151 million viewers, including 58 million women age 18 and older. Deep in their own territory, Michael Turner. Maybe a yard out to the 11.
Well, talk about no hole there whatsoever. I mean, Michael Turner just ends up crawling right up the backside of his offensive line, and his fullback, Lusaka Polite. I mean, there is nothing there. The Raiders didn't give him an inch.
Hey, the Raiders have come in here and played a tough football game so far today.
Well, they certainly look like they've benefited from a bye. The Falcons heading into the bye after this game. But the Raiders certainly look like they made the most of theirs, getting some good work done on their fundamentals.
2nd and 9. Under pressure over the middle, incomplete. Pass intended for Tommy Gallarda, tight end. Now these Atlanta Falcons averaging over 29.5 points a game, just 13 on the board so far today.
And Tony Gonzalez only with a pair of receptions, good for 19 yards. Matt Ryan having difficulty finding Gonzalez with any room downfield at all. Gonzalez lined up right there.
3rd and 9. Ryan stepping away from trouble over the middle. Oh, what a catch, just short of the 30-yard line by Julio Jones.
Well, and talk about threading it in there. This is a wonderful delivery from Matt Ryan, stepping up, but he's got double coverage going on down there. Giordano is the safety behind Michael Huff. There he comes in at the last second, and that is a perfect strike from Matt Ryan.
And another wrong foot pass from Ryan, right on the money, 18-yard pickup. And we have a conversation on the far side of the field. Dennis Allen talking to Terry McCauley.
Oakland is challenged that the pass was incomplete.
Well, let's see if we can see what Dennis Allen thinks that he saw when we take a timeout and come right back. Well, we'll show you what Dennis Allen thinks he saw.
Well, referee Terry McCauley, this is really interesting. All right, there's Julio Jones. You've got to make a couple of steps. You got to have possession of the football. Now, the key is, and this is where it gets really interesting, when you're contacted by a defender, you have to complete the process. And the question is, were those couple of steps that Julio Jones took, were they enough to complete the process to where it was a completed reception before he went to the ground? The NFL has always taken the stance that if there's any question at all, that it's an incomplete pass. And right now, Terry McCauley's trying to determine whether or not Julio Jones completed the process before that ball came loose.
While going to the ground, the receiver lost control of the football, came out of his hand, and hit the ground. The pass is incomplete. It'll be 4th and 9 at the 10.5-yard line.
Well,
please set the game clock to 13 minutes, 45 seconds. Oakland is not charged with a timeout.
And that Dennis Allen, because of he's on the far sideline, he had a front row seat to looking at the end of that reception, where everyone else on this side of the stadium, we couldn't see it because you can't see through Jones. But a very good challenge by Dennis Allen. And again, because he was contacted by a defender, you've got to complete the process, and that part of that process involves going to the ground and maintaining control.
Dennis Allen's establishing a pretty good reputation for win to challenge. He's 6 for 6, including the preseason. 3 out of 3 in the regular season now.
Well, lucky for him, that happened right in front of him.
Bosher booms one out of there. This is Phillip Adams, all the way back to his own 32-yard line. Oh, hit by his own man, and a penalty marker is down.
I don't think you can call helmet to helmet when it's your own teammate.
Coy Francis, number 31, was involved. You know, you expect a lot of things, Dan, but your own man lowering the boom on you isn't one of them.
Yeah, Francis is
During the
coming
kick,
back.
personal foul, unnecessary roughness. Receiving team, number 49, went out of bounds and blocked the kicking team player. 15-yard penalty from the end of the kick. First down.
Take another look.
Again, that is just a knockout shot from his own teammate. Francis does not expect Adams to jump around. Dennis Allen goes, wow, it's tough enough going against their 11, much less one of our own guys. I'm not sure who that penalty was called because the Raiders don't have such a number suited up for this game. So I'm not sure who Terry McCauley was attempting to identify as the culprit on the personal foul.
I think you ought to be able to challenge that if you can't identify who the person was.
That is not a challengeable.
So the Raiders now beginning to shoot themselves in the foot with these penalties.
It makes it challenging for the rest of us.
First down from their own 17-yard line. McFadden to the 20.
And Greg Knapp, the offensive coordinator of the Raiders, he is a man of his word. Of course, this was no secret that with the Falcons giving up as much yard per carry as they have, 5.37 yards, no surprise that the Raiders were going to really come after them running the football. But, you know, it's been well defended by the Falcons.
Right, Eddie! What's up?
2nd and 7, McFadden breaking to the outside, can't find running room and goes out of bounds. Lost a bunch of yardage on the play.
Well, Sean Weatherspoon, he's the guy that really made it happen because he set the edge. You hear everybody talking about setting the edge defensively. Sean Weatherspoon did that for the Falcons. If you're holding McFadden to less than 3 yards a carry, defensively, you got to be pretty pleased.
Forward progress marked at the original line of scrimmage, so it's 3rd and 10, and this play's getting noisy for one of the few times today.
John Abraham at the top of the screen.
Palmer with time, far side of the field, he has his man. Across the 30 to the 34 is Denarius Moore.
Oh, and Denarius Moore takes a huge hit at the end of this, and he's hurt. Carson Palmer has a lot of time to throw, and Denarius Moore, boy, does he get hammered. It's William Moore, the safety.
Moore to the sideline.
And at that point in time, I don't believe that Moore was a defenseless receiver.
Palmer. And through the hands of McFadden. That one was a little hot coming out of Palmer's hand.
Still, though, Darren McFadden's a pretty good, he's better than pretty good. He's an excellent receiver. And that's just a very catchable ball, and McFadden appeared to be befuddled by that. Denarius Moore took a heck of a shot from William Moore. No way to treat a guy with the same last name.
No. 2nd and 10. Palmer throwing over the middle, and that's complete at midfield to Brandon Myers. First down into into Atlanta territory at the 48-yard line.
Boy, that's the minute you look at that, you're going, oh boy, throwing back across the middle of the field. Carson Palmer here rolling out to his left. A lot of times you're going, oh man, how many times have we seen that? But he saw that Brandon Moore had gotten lost, and the Falcons secondary just lost track of him. He was wide open.
So 2 catches for 27 yards on the day for Meyer. First down from the 48. McFadden.
Good surge there. That's the way to finish.
Inside the 45 to the 44. McFadden now up to 63 yards rushing on the day. This Oakland offense has just averaged barely over 60 yards rushing a game this season.
Well, and the frustrating part of that is last year as a team, they averaged 132 yards a game. Well, anytime you're running the ball for less than half of what you did a year ago.
Palmer with time. McFadden dragged down at the 43 by Sean Weatherspoon.
Yeah, this time Darren McFadden never gets a chance to turn upfield because of the tight coverage from Weatherspoon. Sean Weatherspoon has become a heck of a football player. But before he can even turn his shoulders and hips upfield, Weatherspoon has got him and wraps up and drags him down. And Denarius Moore back in the game. He looked like he was really shaken up, and good for him.
3rd and 5. Palmer going down at his own 47-yard line.
Well, even if there was a possibility that they were at the outer ranges of Janikowski, that's out the window now. And Carson Palmer, just the traffic, his own guy, just nowhere to go.
Leckler set to kick it away to Dominique Franks. We'll get this one away from about the 40-yard line. Drops it inside the 10 and takes a bounce into the end zone. 8:40 to play, 4th quarter. 13 game. Back in the Georgia Dome. 8 minutes, 40 seconds to play here in the 4th quarter. You see Matt Ryan's late game heroics. Michael Turner in the backfield.
Green Miller! Green Miller! Green Miller!
Nickel defense on the field for the Raiders.
Whatever this is Green Miller. Apparently Michael Turner's Green Miller. For maybe a yard. Wednesday in prime time, JB, Phil Simms, Chris Collinsworth showcase America's favorite game with their own unique style. Inside the NFL, Wednesday on Showtime.
Well, what Matt Ryan did, Greg, is he identified a nickel defense, 5 DBs on the field. That indicates you ought to have some success with the run, and they barely eked out 2 yards.
2nd and 8. Ryan with room to run. Sliding down across the 35 to the 37-yard line.
Well, not to be confused with Michael Vick or Steve Young. Running for Matt Ryan is, he's not blazing speed, but you got to take advantage of an open field like that.
Matt Ryan came into this game with 14 carries for 52 yards and a rushing touchdown. Turner.
Finally, some first down success running the football. And by the way, for all you young quarterbacks out there, Matt Ryan showed you how to hook slide. You do it well in advance of a defender being able to hit you. I think he saw what Sean Weatherspoon did last week to Robert Griffin III.
Harry Dublin forced out of bounds, short of the first down marker at the 45-yard line. The passing comparison today.
Again, the 3 interceptions for Matt Ryan. Michael Turner hasn't been able to get loose, and Darren McFadden hasn't either, really.
And Denarius Moore, who has taken a trip to the locker room. We'll check on him. 3rd and 1. Ryan going to throw for it down the sideline. It is batted up in the air, incomplete. Intended for Gonzalez, and Michael Huff played him tough.
Well, Michael Huff certainly has played against Tony Gonzalez a bunch of times, because he's old enough to remember when Tony was with the Kansas City Chiefs in the same division, and that was just outstanding. He's not playing the football, and he gets in there, and was he just a fraction early on pulling down the right arm of Gonzalez? Yes, but in a bang-bang play, that's not going to get called.
Phillip Adams, fair catch called for, and made at the 9-yard line. These Oakland Raiders won't give up very much in this game. 13-13, 6:19 to play in the 4th. Back in Atlanta, the Oakland Raiders have a very special weapon on the sideline in Sebastian Janikowski. But they're a ways from that yet. From the 10, Carson Palmer. Under pressure, throws, and complete to Marcel Reese out of the backfield for no gain.
Sean Weatherspoon gets the tackle, but take a look at this as the blitz comes in. Darren McFadden, I give him credit. He steps in front of Mike Peterson, but he gets blown right back towards his own quarterback. But he got in there and he fought him. Pretty good work by Darren McFadden.
Mike Goodson now in the backfield with Palmer on 2nd down. Goodson with the handoff. Up the middle, across the 20, across the 30, off to the races. Cuts back inside and out of bounds at about the 47-yard line.
And no flags. Seems like every big play for a while for the Raiders, there's been a flag on the field. Not this time.
42 yards.
Nothing fancy about this. No lead blocker. Right off right tackle, and take a look at that gaping hole. Take a look at this. Parsons with a good seal block to the outside. Even getting some good work by Osbury, the tight end. That was huge.
Play clock down to 9, 8. Palmer trying to rearrange people in the backfield. Play fake. Screen to the far side. Myers, the tight end. Myers inside the 40, inside the 35 for a first down.
Well, it's time for other people to step up for the Raiders. Denarius Moore with his shoulder, as we're being told that he's questionable whether he comes back. But a great look there at Brandon Myers. You know, fake. He's chip blocking originally. That is such a good look to then float out and take the screen. And a couple big plays all of a sudden have turned terrible field position back at their own 10 into really positive field position for the Raiders.
Raiders working hard to make this a homecoming to remember for Dennis Allen.
They weren't on their own 10 very long ago.
Denarius Moore back onto the field. This is McFadden. Wrestled down at the 30. Perez Jerry, first time we've mentioned his name today. Matt Ryan waits his turn.
Well, the Falcons at a great beginning, 5-0. They haven't lost here to Georgia Dome for a year. This is this crowd right now, and a little bit of, well, way beyond apprehension.
Raiders have moved the ball 60 yards in 4 plays. 2nd and 8.
Right 90.
Quick pass. Moore. And he stood up right where he caught the football by Asante Samuel.
Well, Denarius Moore doing everything he can do to get back out on the field. And again, well, you could see that Asante Samuel was able to front him up because Thomas Deku took away the inside. So Denarius Moore, I think, his first instinct was to head back to the middle of the field. Deku took that away.
You saw on the sideline, Sebastian Janikowski is ready if they don't convert. 3rd and 6. Palmer, intercepted, down the near sideline. Asante Samuel with Palmer, only chance to stop him. He's not going to. Touchdown, Falcons. yards. Asante Samuel's first interception of the year is a big one.
That's why he's been to 4 Pro Bowls.
Matt Bryant's kick is good. 2:40 to play in the 4th quarter, and the Falcons jump to a 20-13 lead.
The Raiders were already in field goal range of Sebastian Janikowski trying to convert this 3rd down. Carson Palmer just in no way envisions Asante Samuel jumping that route to the extent that he did. And it almost looked like Samuel slowed down, letting Carson Palmer have a shot at it. Just going on the out pattern to Denarius Moore, and Asante Samuel just read it the whole way. Asante Samuel almost went into cruise control, and it was enough to let Carson Palmer get in front of him, but asking an awful lot of Palmer to make an open field tackle of a guy like Asante Samuel.
What a turnaround. The Raiders were looking at a shot to go up by at least a field goal, if not more. Instead, they're down a touchdown with 2:40 to play.
When a corner undercuts a route like that, it's feast or famine. If he misses it, who knows what Denarius Moore might have been able to do with that football, where he might have gone.
That's Tywan Jones, by all accounts, the fastest man on the Raiders roster. And he will not bring this one out of the end zone. So now Carson Palmer has to go to work late here in the 4th quarter. And his record late in football game.
Well, talk about a lot of momentum totally squandered and actually just disintegrated by that interception. But the Raiders were riding high, starting from their own 10. They got some big plays, moved it down the field with ease, and then just had it all blow up in their faces.
Carson Palmer now has to forget about it and go back to work.
Here comes Hayward Bay down here at the bottom. He's the guy with a lot of speed.
Each team with 3 timeouts remaining. Over the middle. That's complete. Derek Hagan. Out of bounds at about the 37-yard line. Asante Samuel, a 79-yard interception return, congratulated by his owner, Arthur Blank.
He's not giving up the oxygen, though.
No.
He's showing that he can multitask. Well, he knew that after that interception return that he had to get right back out on the field.
From the 37. That's complete across the 45 to the 47 to Brandon Myers.
Well, you got that great weapon in Sebastian Janikowski. He was relevant on the last drive, not on this one.
Near sideline, almost did it. Oh, it is intercepted, and he dropped it.
That's Robert McClain.
That's going to be incomplete.
The pass is rolled, incomplete. Second down.
Again, this was intended for Darius Hayward-Bay. In his hands, off his leg, back in his hands.
That's quite the juggling act.
Does he is in the process of putting the football away, which would have made that an interception. And in the process of putting that football away, it came out.
2:02 on the clock. This will take us to the 2-minute warning. Palmer throwing far side of the field and complete to Denarius Moore. Out of bounds. 1:57 to play. We have a penalty marker down. And the penalty is going to go against the Raiders.
Another big play for the Raiders negated.
So the Raiders trying to dig out of a hole when we come back.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome, everybody. There's Jared Valdir, the left tackle. John Abraham comes into your picture, crosses his face, and Valdir grabs him around the waist. And that big play, that big completion to Moore brought back.
2nd and 20. Pump fake. The pass is complete up to the 45-yard line to Derek Hagan.
And the Raiders, Greg, have committed a dozen penalties so far in this game. The Falcons only 2. When you are minus 10 in the penalty department, hard to overcome.
First 4 games, Oakland did a terrific job of not being penalized. Today they've done a terrific job of being penalized. Over the middle, and that's complete inside the 45 to Myers, the tight end. 122, 121, 120, and the clock continues to move. Atlanta with all 3 of their timeouts.
Roy. Set. What?
Palmer. And he's got Hagan. Hagan inside the 10. Inside the 5. Spun out of bounds. They're going to mark him out of bounds at about the 6-yard line.
Well, somehow Asante Samuel comes up and bites, and then Thomas Deku completely misses Derek Hagan. And Asante Samuel is finally able to get him out of bounds. So, mistakes on the corner right there. First of all, Samuel comes up, jumps the route like he did last time for a touchdown, but then a big missed tackle by Thomas Deku.
38 yards, 1st and goal. McFadden cuts it back to about the 2. Clock continues to move.
Well, with all their timeouts, that's nothing wrong with running the football in that situation.
They're going to use one here to stop the clock with 44 seconds to play. A reminder, coming up, the Subway post-game show. JB, Dan, Shannon, Boomer, Coach Bill Cowher, all the latest NFL scores and highlights, all coming up on the Subway post-game show.
That is Asante Samuel that's being looked at by the training staff of the Falcons.
I wonder, Dan, if Asante Samuel is thinking interception again on the sideline on that last play.
Well, he sure looked like it. It sure looked like he jumped to go underneath the route. Now, he knew he had help over the top, which he did in Deku, but Deku just missed the tackle. Hagan just made him look bad as he just sidestepped, and Deku went sailing right by.
That's Chris Owens coming on the field to replace Samuel at corner. Oakland with 2 timeouts remaining. 2nd and goal from the 2.
Robert McLean, number 27, is coming all the way out here on Hayward Bay.
McFadden straight ahead to the touchdown.
And you see the sign there from Dennis Allen. We'll go for the tie. And a great surge off the left side. Cooper Carlisle, Stefan Wisniewski, the center. Good double team block, and Darren McFadden stuffs it in the end zone.
Raiders have 2 rushing touchdowns on the season. McFadden has them both. Janikowski for the tie. And it's good.
Well, the Falcons have 2 timeouts. And we'll see what Matt Ryan can do, what kind of field position he's going to get after this kickoff return. Certainly 40 seconds and a pair of timeouts. It's something, this is not a no-brainer for the Oakland Raiders here. Now kudos to Carson Palmer. He covered a lot of ground in a hurry on that drive.
Dan, I know that all teams say they never look past an opponent, but still you have to think that the Raiders may have taken the Falcons a little bit by surprise today.
Well, the Falcons were saying all the right things. Then when you watch the tape, you realize that they've got big playmakers on that team. They've got a quarterback in Carson Palmer that's won more than his share of games in this league. You know, if guys like Hayward Bay and Denarius Moore don't get your attention, and certainly Darren McFadden. But you're right, it's a strange thing being 5-0, and I don't know how much it played into them thinking that they were that good.
Jacquizz Rodgers will not run this one out of the end zone. It'll be first down from the 20-yard line.
Well, Matt Ryan has had a few comebacks in this 5-0 start. You see right out of there from his own end zone against Carolina. That's Roddy White. Led to this field goal that gives them the W. And then last week in the 4th quarter against the Redskins, Julio Jones, that led to Michael Turner running it in, and they have a 1-touchdown win over the Redskins. And now with 40 seconds left before overtime.
And 80 yards away. Short pass to Jacquizz Rodgers.
Oh, and he didn't get out of bounds. He had the Falcons have to take a timeout. You got to get out of bounds on that play. At that point in time, you have got to break it off and go a little more laterally and just run out of bounds and stop that clock.
Matt Ryan has a season long of 53 yards.
And remember, he missed the field goal early on in this game. What was it, about
43?
43? That's the only field goal that Bryant has missed all year.
Rodgers still in the backfield, 2nd and 3. Deep drop to Ryan. Rodgers. And Rodgers hits to the sideline, out of bounds at the 36-yard line. That is only the 4th first down for the Atlanta Falcons here in the second half.
Well, they only have 259 yards of offense. They came into this game averaging 376. So 115 yards behind their normal season average to this point.
Ryan, another sideline pass, and out of bounds at the 40-yard line is Harry Douglas. 23 seconds on the clock.
Well, these little 5-yard completions are kind of nice, but they're not going to be enough. Not with only 1 timeout remaining. They're going to have to cover some ground and eat up a pretty good chunk here on a play, or these are just going to pad the stat sheet on our way to overtime.
Ryan stepping up over the middle, incomplete. Off the hands of Gonzalez.
Well, there's Philip Wheeler again on Tony Gonzalez. And Matt would really like to get it to his big tight end, but that was just a little high. A little bit lower, and I think Tony would have been able to make that catch. But they would have had to use their final timeout.
18 seconds. Plenty of time. Sideline, Gonzalez steps out of bounds just short of midfield. 12 seconds on the clock.
Well, can you run some sort of a pattern and pick up about 20 yards? If you could get down to the 35, that was even 15 yards, you'd give Bryant a pretty decent chance, and you still got that timeout at your disposal, so you can use the entire football field.
Ryan going to go down the middle, and he's got his man Gonzalez inside the 40 and a timeout.
Well, this will be about a 51-yard field goal, I think. Oh, I take that back, about a 55.
Matt Bryant has missed one field goal all year long, and that was earlier today from 43.
I think they're going to spot the ball. This will be right at 55 yards. Well, Dennis Allen hasn't been doing this for a long time. Is he going to try to ice him by calling a timeout at the last minute?
Yes, he is. He just called a timeout on the far side of the field.
And that was a practice kick. Bryant knew that they had called the timeout.
This was earlier today from 43 yards. Bryant missed, but he didn't miss by much.
No, he pulls it to the left. Obviously plenty of leg. But having to kick from this distance here, a field goal kicker has to make sure that he gets enough elevation to get it up over the line of scrimmage. It's one thing to kick these in pregame warmups when there's no group of guys 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" on the other side of the ball jumping up in the air.
Matt Bryant has kicked a 62-yarder for his career long. This one from 55. On its way. No doubt about it.
Matt Bryant drives the ball. It clears the crossbar. And this crowd is delirious. And as you can see,
that would have been good for 60.
He had plenty of legs. He got enough elevation. He got it over the line. And these Atlanta Falcons, barring something amazing happening in the remaining 1 second, and Dennis Allen a little disappointed, to say the least. His team fought to get back. And the Raiders will be looking at a squib kick for sure on this. This will be an ugly kick right here.
14 game winners for Matt Bryant.
I think we'll see some kind of a knuckleball coming down here.
And flipped backward and thrown backward, and they're still working on it. And now Mike Goodson, nowhere to run, and down inside the 5-yard line, and that's the ball game.
Well, the Falcons can enjoy their bye week at 6-0.
The Atlanta Falcons go to 6-0 on the season. They win it by a score of 23-20, their first ever 6-0 start. The Oakland Raiders fall to 1-4. And this was the game winner. From 55 yards away, Matt Bryant had plenty of leg and was right on the money. For the Atlanta Falcons, it's a nice way to take a week off. You're exactly right. And then they'll go back to work the week after that at Philadelphia.
Yeah, they start a tough stretch, Greg. Philadelphia, Dallas, New Orleans, Arizona. They're going to play some good football teams. And Arthur Blank congratulates his game-winning kicker.
Once again, our final score, Atlanta 23 and Oakland 20. Coming up next, it's the Subway post-game show. For Dan Deerdorf, for all of our crew here in Atlanta, Greg Gumbel saying so long from the Georgia Dome. You've been watching the NFL on CBS, the home of Super Bowl 47. We'll